You can tell everything about a person by the way they talk about a window. That's what I used to believe. I remember when Amy and I toured the house, the old blue colonial with the crooked back gate and a cracked tile in the entryway. It was her idea. We weren't even engaged then, just dating. But she saw it on a drive home from her sister's and said, "We have to see it, just for fun." You know how those stories go. We walked through it with the real estate agent, and Amy drifted straight to the window seat in the upstairs bedroom, the one facing the elm trees in the back. She sat there like she'd already lived a life in that spot. Said it was quiet in the way the world should be. I still remember that, her exact words. We made an offer the next day. I paid 80% of the down payment. Amy's job paid well. She was a PR director for a mid-tier agency, but I was the one who'd been saving since I was 22, a safe, boring kind of saver. I was in construction management, mostly commercial builds, union-backed, steady, reliable. We got engaged that same winter, married by fall, and for a while, life looked like something you'd put in a brochure. Garden beds, morning coffee rituals. She even worked from that window seat when the pandemic hit, called it her nest. I built her that nest. And then, slowly, she set it on fire. It started like most things do, not with an explosion, but with erosion. There wasn't a fight, no slammed doors, just silences that got heavier, smiles that took longer to arrive. Amy would come home later than usual from work dinners and say things like, "Sorry, it ran long," while kicking her heels off with this exhausted sigh that didn't quite match her eyes. She started keeping her phone face down on the counter. A small thing, but the kind of thing you feel before you name it. I asked once, softly, "Everything good at work?" She smiled, tired and automatic. "Just stretched thin, end of quarter madness." I wanted to believe her. God, I wanted to. We'd spent nearly a decade building a life together. The garden beds were finally taking. The HVAC unit I'd installed myself was still running strong. We had plans, maybe a second property, something up north, maybe even a kid, we hadn't decided. But then I noticed her laptop open late at night with Slack messages popping in the corner. Messages from someone named Nathan. At first I told myself it was just a coworker. Then I saw a message she hadn't clicked yet, from him. "Still thinking about you on that couch this morning." I sat down slowly, like my legs didn't belong to me anymore. Amy walked in from the bathroom 2 minutes later. I closed the laptop before she saw me reading it. She kissed my cheek, distracted. "Love you," I said it back. And from that moment forward, I was no longer her husband. I was her shadow. I didn't confront her. You might think I would, that I'd blow up, demand answers, kick furniture, shatter something to match the fracture she'd carved into my ribs, but I didn't. Because I knew that confrontation gives them control. It forces them into roles, the tearful apologizer, the indignant denier, the manipulative gaslighter. And I didn't want to give Amy any roles to play. I just wanted truth. So I observed. I watched her routine shift, ever so slightly. A new perfume, she said, was a client gift, a suddenly strict Pilates schedule, more smiles on her phone than in our kitchen. And Nathan? He was easy to trace. Full name? Nathan Riley, director of digital accounts at Amy's agency, a divorcee, early 40s, CrossFit enthusiasm leaking out of his Instagram captions. He posted grind set quotes and pictures of steak, and sometimes, without thinking, I guess Amy appeared in a wine glass reflection or a background blur. He wasn't careful. That helped. Over 2 months, I created a profile. Not just of their affair, of their pattern. Morning texts, lunches that lined up with Amy's bank statements, meetings out of town that matched Nathan's posts from hotels. I documented it all. And while I did, I started to tighten the quietest noose I could build, not out of rage, but out of math. See, what Amy didn't know, or maybe didn't bother remembering, is that while she was putting her name on our mortgage, I was putting my name on everything else. The LLC that held our house, in my name. The trust tied to the land title, also mine. The retirement account she hadn't touched since our wedding rolled into mine after a consolidation meeting 2 years ago. Amy had the house, but I had the foundation, and she was standing on it with a blindfold. It came in the form of an email, not to me, to herself. Amy left her laptop open again. She was in the shower. I wasn't even looking for anything that night. I was pouring wine, but her Gmail tab buzzed with a subject line I couldn't ignore. Draft. Timeline and offer points for Nathan. She had emailed herself a document, a draft of a letter, or more like a script, a plan. It read like this: Nathan, I want to be clean about this. I've started separating my finances. I've told him I want space and will move toward filing in the next 2 months. We'll need to be discreet, especially until the house situation is resolved, but I'm ready. I want a life with you. I'm not scared anymore. I stared at it, reread it, once, twice, and then I did something I hadn't done in a long time. I smiled. Not the happy kind. The kind of smile you make when the lock finally clicks and you know the trap is set. Because here was Amy making her move, quietly, strategically, but too early. She thought she had time. She thought I'd be surprised, that I'd react emotionally, sign whatever papers her lawyer sent, too ashamed to drag things out. But she was wrong. I had already moved the money. Over the past few months, I'd liquidated the investment account, transferred the equity we built in the second property to a holding company with no visible tie to me, paid off all my personal debts, removed myself from any accounts she could trace, and set up a new bank with a P.O. box 3 towns over. And now, the final touch. I called a lawyer, not mine, hers. I knew who she was planning to use, saw her card once tucked in Amy's purse after a lunch meeting she called, catching up with an old friend. I booked a consultation the next morning and paid the retainer. In most states, once a lawyer has met with a potential client, they're barred from representing the opposing side in a divorce. It's a conflict of interest. Amy had one chess piece. I burned it. It was a Thursday. She came home early, which already told me everything. Amy never cut work short unless it served her. She made tea, not coffee. Tea meant I'm nervous, but trying to appear calm. Then she sat on the edge of the couch, just far enough away that she wouldn't touch me if I moved. I didn't. She said my name like a sigh. Andrew, I've been thinking. No apology, no lead-up, just straight into it, like a boardroom pitch. We've been off for a while, I think we both feel it, and I don't want to do the thing where we pretend. I want us both to be happy. I think it's time we talk about separating. Not as a failure, just a new chapter. She said it like she was giving me a gift, a clean ending, a mature decision. I nodded, calm, measured. I'd practiced this part. Okay. That threw her. Her mouth twitched like she expected a protest, some flinch. She blinked, then tried again. I've looked at a few options, places I could stay. I thought I could give you space, and then we can start looking at how to divide things, fairly. I asked, like the house? She softened. We both put in so much. I was thinking I stay here, just temporarily, until we figure it out. It's my safe space, the window seat, the garden. I just need a little time to land somewhere. I let that hang in the air, like smoke. Then I said, sure, but it's not our house. She blinked. What? It's not ours. It's mine. Legally. Her throat worked around a reply, but I didn't give her the opening. The LLC that owns this property has had sole ownership for 5 years. You signed the addendum when we refinanced. You don't remember? She sat straighter. But I live here. And you will, for exactly 30 days, as per the notice I'll serve tomorrow. Now she stood, angry, defensive. The performance kicked in. You're punishing me because I want to be happy? I smiled the same way she had when she fired that intern for calling out sick twice in 1 week. No, Amy, I'm just finishing what you started." She tried to fight it. That night, she called her lawyer, or tried to. Found out she couldn't retain her thanks to my little preemptive visit. That was her first real taste of checkmate. She didn't sleep in our bed after that. 2 days later, she moved into a rental, a short-term unit in a cookie-cutter complex with fake wood floors and loud pipes. I know because I paid a friend of mine to help her carry her things. He said she tried to offer him coffee and started crying mid-sentence. I didn't see her for a week. Then came the messages. Not from Amy, from Nathan. "You happy now? You're obsessed. You need help. She's better off." I never replied. I didn't have to, because by then I'd already sent an envelope, discreet, unbranded, to Nathan's employer. Inside, printed screenshots of messages he'd sent Amy on company time, using his work email. All dated, all explicit. I didn't know if it would cost him his job, but it would make things difficult. They let him go a week later. Apparently, Nathan's non-compete clause forbade fraternization with clients, which Amy's firm technically was. I didn't gloat. I just took a long, slow walk through my garden that morning, pruning the basil, watching the soil breathe. It's been a year. The garden's better now. Less decorative, more intentional. Herbs, root vegetables, things that grow downward, deep into the soil. Quiet plants. I converted the upstairs bedroom into an office. Not mine. Not yet. I still sleep in the guest room most nights. The bedroom carries echoes. Her perfume still lingers on rainy mornings when the wind shifts just right. But the window seat? That's mine now. I rebuilt it. Literally. I tore out the cushion, sanded the wood, reframed it with pine from a lumberyard in Acton, laid in a deeper seat, a custom cut, reinforced the trim, finished it with marine-grade varnish, not because I needed to, but because it deserved to last. It's quiet there, still, but it's a different kind of quiet now. Not the kind where you're waiting for the other shoe to drop or pretending not to hear the phone vibrate upside down on the counter. A real quiet. The kind you earn. I still hear things. That's the part they don't tell you. Even when justice is clean, even when the revenge is quiet and no one bleeds, you still hear echoes. But they fade. Amy never tried to come back. She moved south, took a smaller job. I heard she and Nathan didn't last more than a few months. Maybe it was the stress. Maybe it was the fact that their version of a future had no foundation under it. Because that's what she never understood. It wasn't the window seat that made the house feel like a home. It was the man who built it.